On Wednesday, Venezuela paid tribute to African independence leaders. A senior Nigerian education official has announced that the 279 schoolgirls released by kidnappers this week will be reunited with their parents this Wednesday. And Cuba continues to advance scientific research on vaccines against COVID-19. Hello and welcome to TeleSUR English. I am Estefania Bravo from the headquarters of Quito in Ecuador. This is From the South. This Wednesday, Venezuela paid tribute to African independence leaders. Foreign Minister Jorge Arraza granted the leaders with the Order of Francisco de Miranda. The foreign minister highlighted the strong bonds of the brotherhood between both continents, the heroic struggle of the working class, and the need to fight for the unity of the peoples in order to overcome the threats of imperialism. The recipients of the prestigious decoration were His Excellency Sam Nujoma, founding father of the Republic of Namibia, former president of Mozambique, the deputy prime minister and foreign affairs minister of Namibia, Zimbabwe's defense minister, and the president of the Republic of Angola, and the father of South Africa, His Excellency Oliver Tambo, received the decoration posthumously. And in a video message sent on the occasion, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro expressed his gratitude for the international support of African countries amidst coercive, unilateral, illegal U.S. measures.
The international solidarity that you, all your countries and peoples have expressed for our beloved Venezuela, it is what I want to thank today. In these moments in which we have been the target of fierce attacks by imperialism, Venezuela, as you know, is the heir of the independence struggles in our continent, and our revolution takes up the legacy that the liberators of the Americas saw for the free peoples of the world.
President Maduro also highlighted the importance of unity in the fight against imperialism.
Commander Hugo Chavez taught us to see the African continent as our mother, Mother Africa, not only because of the historical and ethnic roots that unite us, but because we share the same destiny, the same future, therefore the importance of our unity so that we can face the world powers as equal peoples. They want to see us separated, divided, but we must continue advancing in the integration between continents and peoples. Today, more than ever, it is necessary to unite our struggles to defeat the threats that threaten us. We see how imperialism is the neocolonialism of the 21st century.
And the founding father of the Republic of Namibia reiterated the country's support for international dialogue.
This is also a call from people all over the world who are seeking an end to all kinds of injustice and oppression. Namibia will always support constructive international dialogue with full respect for the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and equality of nations in the interest of coexistence, peace, and harmonious cooperation.
Former President of Mozambique, Joaquim Chissano, denounced the existing challenges posed by colonialism.
That support continues today, when we are witnessing the threat of maintaining colonialism and imperialism in the world. African people continue to debate and face the negative effects of colonialism and imperialism, such as poverty, hunger, malnutrition, illiteracy, and the lack of adequate health care.
Zimbabwe's defense minister condemned the coercive sanctions imposed against the peoples of the world.
We continue to be victims of punitive sanctions imposed by imperialist powers against which we fought many years ago. Due to our determination to regain control of our human resources, we have been punished for our firm convictions, for our strong ideas of revolutionary heroes such as Miranda.
Moving on, in Bolivia, political parties are on the last day of campaigning for the regional elections to be held this Sunday. Candidates and political groups in several regions of the country are carrying out their last activities with rallies and marches as part of the closing of the electoral campaign period. Around 25,000 members of the National Police will be mobilized to guarantee the security of the electoral activities. At the same time, they will try to ensure the respect of the electoral silence day that begins on Thursday at dawn. In this context, several regional candidates announced the suspension of their events as a compassion gesture with the families of the students killed in the tragedy at a university in El Alto. A court in Chile revoked the preventive prison order of former Chilean police officer, also known as Carabinero, Sebastián Zamora, accused of the attempted homicide of a teenager pushed from the Pío Nono Bridge in the capital Santiago last year. The court canceled the preventive measure, which had Zamora serving for 5 months. It authorized the former policeman to remain under full house arrest for the rest of the investigation. On October 3rd, 2020, Zamora pushed a teenager over a bridge to the Mapocho River during a protest related to Chile's social current unrest. The 8-meter fall did not kill the young man, but it left him with several fractures in his body, which required surgery. The case exposed the rampant brutality within security forces and sparked anger demonstrations among the Chilean people. Hundreds of waste pickers took to the streets of the Colombian capital, Bogotá, to raise awareness about their contributions to recycling efforts and the promotion of environmental sustainability. Our correspondent there, Hernán Tovar, brings us more details.
The main streets of Bogotá witnessed the commemoration of Waste Pickers Day as work that is recognized by society, but that every year brings to mind those who have died fulfilling this task and working to protect the environment.
On March 1st, 1992, it was discovered that at the Barranquilla campus of the Free University's medical school, waste pickers were being murdered by tricking them into the university to collect paper and cardboard, where they were slaughtered, their organs were extracted, and then used for organ trafficking, and their bodies sold for medical studies for $10.
The current circumstances in which waste pickers work in the country has resulted in a fall in their income. The prices set for each recycled item are low, and many collectors work for more than 8 hours a day. They do not have access to a pension or social security. Meanwhile, major corporations are monopolizing this sector and trying to push local waste pickers out of the chain of production, as Doña Cecilia, who has been doing this work since she was 17.
The government wants us out. Uribe's children wants us out. They have plenty of wealth, and they are the ones who want to buy up the cardboard factories and close them, and get rid of us, because to them we are garbage. We are worthless to the Uribes. They have more money than they know what to do with, which they are making off the backs of us, poor people, who recycle the waste.
In Colombia, 500,000 people live of waste collection and recycling, and are affected by policies that seek to drive small cooperatives and their workers out of competition. For this reason, they gather to voice their demands in Bolivar Square, where they work, and its importance for the protection of the environment were recognized.
Today, most of the things we use are made with renewable and non-renewable natural resources. For example, the raw material used to make paper. We need to cut down more than 20 years old tree in order to have the pulp, to use more than 600,000 liters of water, consume more than 7,000 kilowatts of energy per hour. When we undertake this activity, we are reducing the current environmental impact by up to 50%. We recyclers are taking advantage and recovering more than 50% of the total garbage that is being produced.
Sector workers stress that they will continue in their struggle until all their labor rights are respected and their well-being guaranteed. They note that their work helps make the planet more sustainable and demand to be heard and not looked down on.
Hernán Darío Tobar, TeleSUR, Bogotá, Colombia.
In Nigeria, senior state education officials said the 279 schoolgirls released by kidnappers this week would be reunited with their parents this Wednesday. Gunmen abducted the schoolgirls from their boarding school in the remote village of Jangibi in northeastern Zamfara state on Friday. Since their release, the girls have been in government care in the state capital, Gusau, where they received medical treatment following their ordeal in captivity. United Nations Human Rights Special Procedures experts noted that the social inclusion of these children required the provision of long-term measures aimed at restoring their physical and psychological well-being. Heavily armed criminal gangs in northwest and central Nigeria have stepped up in attacks in recent years, kidnapping for ransom, raping, and pillaging. Clashes broke out between supporters of Senegalese opposition figure Ousmane Sonko and security forces on Wednesday as Sonko made his way to court for a hearing on charges of rape. The opposition figure was arrested in the capital Dakar, according to his lawyers, ahead of his scheduled court appearance. Hundreds of his supporters rallied in the city before the 46-year-old was due to appear before a judge. Sonko, the leader of the Patriots of Senegal for Ethics, Work and Fraternity Party, has denied the charges, claiming they are politically motivated, and accused the president of conspiring to remove him from the political scene ahead of the 2024 elections. The World Food Program and the UN Refugee Agency appealed for $266 million on Tuesday to end food ration cuts for over 3 million refugees in East Africa. In recent months, the World Food Program has been forced to implement ration cuts of up to 60%, compromising long-standing efforts to achieve food security in refugee camps in Uganda, Kenya, South Sudan, Djibouti, and Ethiopia. East Africa hosts one of the largest displaced populations of any region in the world. The impact of the funding shortfalls on refugee families has been compounded by COVID-19 lockdowns and measures to contain the pandemic spread, which had already reduced the availability of food markets in refugee camps and wrecked many refugees' hopes of helping to support their families through casual labor and small businesses. The Islamic State group claimed responsibility for the killing of 3 women working for a local radio and TV station in eastern Afghanistan, the latest in a spike in targeted killings across the country. Dozens of people gathered on Wednesday for the funerals of the 3 media workers. The women were gunned down on Tuesday in separate attacks. Afghan officials said police arrested the alleged killer of the 3, identifying him as Qari Basir and insisting he was a Taliban. Taliban spokesperson denied the accusation. IS militants said the 3 female journalists were targeted because they worked for one of the media stations loyal to the apostate Afghan government in Jalalabad. It was not the first attack against women working at the Nicolas radio and TV station. In December, IS claimed the killing of another female employee there, Malala Maiwand. This Wednesday, at least 10 Katyusha rockets hit the Ain al-Assad base in western Iraq, which hosts troops of the U.S.-led international military coalition. It was not yet immediately known if there were any casualties. The Iraqi military said security forces had found the launch pad used for the missiles in the al-Baghdadi area of Anbar. This is the second time in less than a month that Ain al-Assad base has been attacked, and it was because of the first attack that U.S. President Joe Biden ordered against Syria territory. The incident has happened just days before the visit of Pope Francis to Iraq. And Pope Francis said on Wednesday he still expected to make his historic visit to Iraq in 2 days' time, despite the many challenges.
The day after tomorrow, God willing, I will travel to Iraq for a 3-day-long pilgrimage. I have been waiting for so long to meet those people who have suffered so much, to meet that martyr church in the land of Abraham, together with other religious leaders. We will make one more step forward toward the brotherhood of the believers. I ask you to accompany with your prayers this apostolic trip, so that it can develop in the best possible way, bringing the fruit that we hope. The Iraqi people are waiting for us. They were waiting for St. John Paul II, but he was prevented from going. We can't disappoint these people for the second time. Let's pray that this trip will go well.
Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said on Wednesday that the new sanctions of the United States and the European Union against citizens and organizations of Russia interfere in the internal affairs of the country. Peskov also said that Moscow considers such decisions as absurd and without grounds. The presidency's press secretary stated that such restrictions are unacceptable because they significantly damage the already deplorable relations with both the EU and the US. The spokesman urged the US and the EU to present the evidence they claim to have on the alleged poisoning of Alexei Navalny.
Sanctions are never a threat to Russia. Concerning Navalny, I can say he's surely a provocateur. We don't need so many young people to take into the streets. Russia will win. Despite people like Navalny, I can't sleep. Why are people like Navalny doing this? It's unclear, and he wants to arrive at power to become a president. He should lift the spirits of people, but he makes statements which repel people. He's an angry man, a destroyer.
A strong 6.3 magnitude earthquake hit central Greece on Wednesday, the U.S. Geological Survey said, prompting residents in the city of Larissa to rush into the streets, according to local media. The Institute of Geodynamics in Athens said the quake, which was felt across central and northern Greece, had a magnitude of 6. According to the Athens Observatory, the epicenter of the quake was 21 kilometers south of the town of Elasona near Larissa. There were at least 3 aftershocks following the main tremor, including one at magnitude 4, and authorities warned there could be more. Foreign ministers of the Association of Southeast Asian States held talks on Tuesday expressing their concern over the violence in Myanmar and urging the parties to seek a solution to the conflict. The Secretary General of the bloc, Lim Jok-hoi, assured that he's willing to help the country in a positive, peaceful, and constructive manner. The association, which brings together 10 countries, including Myanmar, has a principle of non-interference in each other's affairs. However, member states invited the military government and popular movements to resolve their differences in a peaceful manner. The statements came after official reports cited that clashes during protests on February 28th resulted in 18 deaths and more than 30 wounded. Cuba continues to advance scientific research on vaccines against COVID-19. Recent clinical trials highlighted Avatar 2020, a therapeutic vaccine for nasal and sublingual application. This new formula is being developed by the Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology Center and will be tested on asymptomatic patients. The test will begin next April 1st in 354 volunteers suffering from COVID-19. This proposal could prevent the spread of the virus. With this new product, Cuba continues to consolidate itself as an innovative country in immunology against the pandemic in the region. The nationwide vaccination campaign in Argentina has been caught up in controversy due to the recent VIP vaccine scandal surrounding influence peddling in access to the shots. In late February, revelations emerged that the now former Minister of Health, González Garcia, has helped secure vaccinations for his personal contacts. The scandal heightened concerns about corruption in the region and access to limited vaccine doses. Following this report and widespread condemnation, President Alberto Fernández asked the minister to resign. On February 21st, Argentina's Ministry of Health officially granted emergency use of the Sinopharm vaccine in the country after clinical trials showed it was safe and effective. So far, 1 million people have received the shots.
Even if we are very happy with the number of people that have been vaccinated so far, this is clearly not enough in order to block a potential second wave. First of all, this is a bad thing. It's really disappointing. It shouldn't have happened. Nobody should have a VIP access to vaccines. But to be completely honest with you, I think the political opposition has made of this a big deal.
On Tuesday, Guatemala received 200,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine as a donation from India, which will be used to complete the immunization of health workers responding to the pandemic that has left nearly 6,500 deaths in the country. This donation of COVID Shield vaccines manufactured by AstraZeneca laboratory arrived on a plane from Mumbai, India. The immunizer, which requires the injection of 2 doses between 8 and 12 weeks apart, joins the 2,500 Moderna vaccines given by Israel to the Latin American country last week. On February 25th, Guatemala started its campaign by vaccinating health workers with the doses donated by Israel. With this new shipment, the country will also begin immunizing the elderly and people with underlying diseases. Angola has begun its vaccination campaign against COVID-19 after the West African country received the first doses of the vaccine through the COVAX initiative. On Tuesday morning, 624,000 doses arrived at Luanda Airport, part of an expected total of more than 2 million doses to arrive up until May, according to government officials. On the front line to receive the shot was a selected group of 50 people, including health professionals, security and defense officials, people with comorbidities, and the elderly. After receiving the first batch of vaccines at the airport, Health Minister Silvia Lutukukuta inaugurated the central COVID-19 facility where the material will be stored, and the first people began receiving their shots. And speaking during an expert online panel event hosted by the University of Edinburgh and the Edinburgh Futures Institute this Tuesday, top U.S. infectious disease expert Anthony Fauci and top Chinese respiratory disease expert Zhong Nanshan expressed optimism about effective control of the COVID-19 pandemic in the coming year.
I believe that 1 year from now, my hope would be that we will have implemented vaccine programs. I know we're not going to get the world vaccinated in 1 year, but I would hope that we suppress the dynamics of this outbreak to the point where it may not be eliminated, but it is under extraordinarily good control so that there can be some steps towards normality.
The vaccines distributed in the United States have a side effect, the deepening of social inequality in the healthcare system. According to Stat News, the distribution of available doses is linked to people's income. In the richest areas of the country, the immunization rate is higher. To understand the dimension of this abyss, we can look at the situation in California, the most populated and richest state in the country. There, people in the richest areas are vaccinated 56% faster than those in the poorest regions.
And with that story, we've come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, don't forget to follow me on our social media accounts. We are on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram as well. For TeleSUR English, I am Estefania Bravo. See you next time.